People whose first relationship was very long term. What weird thing did you believe was normal until you started seeing other people? I thought most guys liked having their nipples played with, because my first ex did. My second boyfriend was so confused when I started licking his titty lameo. She made me believe the old TV tropes of women never wanting X. I had to work my ass off to get her to give me some action. The next girl I had was just freaking amazed that I didn't just ask for it when I wanted it. The bewildered look on her face when she finally asked, "You realize I'm horny too, right?" Man, that hits too close to home for me. I texted my then new girlfriend about where I was and who I was with about every 30 minutes. After the third time, she told me that she didn't need to get updates on what I was doing, and to just let her know when I got home safe. I remember feeling almost a physical weight being lifted off my chest, because I didn't have to worry about my girlfriend freaking out if I didn't update her. I learned what trust felt like that night. I am actually amazed at how many married couples are this way. I just thought it was common sense to trust your spouse is doing what they said they were doing. No point in being crazy until there is a reason to be. In the words of my shrink, worrying doesn't change the outcome. It applies in a lot of situations. Worrying is like a rocking chair. You feel like you're moving, but in the end, you're in the same place. Worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. Van Wilder. And to just let her know when I got home safe. Something about that is really sweet. I suppose showing she cares about you enough to tell her you're still okay. This is morbid, but I thought it was normal to argue every day. I thought all couples have their bickering and it was just a regular thing. I was astounded when I went into my next relationship and actually got on with the guy and went weeks and weeks without having any issues. It always felt like the bubble was going to burst. Goes to show, don't stay in a relationship just because you've already invested a ton of time. You get one life, spend it with someone who makes you laugh every day. My parents' relationship was like this. When I met my current partner, I told him I would never get married because I don't see the point in being stuck in an argument for the rest of my life. His response was, "Okay, well, if we communicate, I don't see why we would be always arguing." I didn't get it and didn't want to get into it. One day we were communicating and the conversation was intense. Not even arguing. Raised voices. And he said, "Let's take a break from this. I'm feeling frustrated." And I just sat there dumbfounded like, "What? You aren't gonna yell at me? Glad you found each other." That some girls, in a relationship, don't like to kiss as often as others. I'm just talking about pecs when girlfriend gets home, etc. I always enjoyed a hello kiss, but I guess some girls don't. People's love languages are all different. It's especially jarring when you have a lot of experience doing things a certain way, and then finding out that isn't what somebody else needs. It can take some work to figure out what's inherent to yourself and what was learned from your partner. This is super valid and I feel like it applies to other types of relationships too. Learning about different ways people express affection for each other and why they might do it that way was a big help for understanding my mom. For me, I express and understand affection by spending time with someone. But my mum never really wanted to spend much time with me, and didn't appreciate me trying to spend a lot of time with her. It made me feel really unimportant and a bit unloved at times. But then I came across this site talking about different kinds of showing care, and found one that fit her perfectly on it. Showing affection by doing things for someone. Not with them, but for them, to make their lives easier. My mum had been trying all that time to show she cared by doing little things for me all the time. Things I often hardly even thought to notice. And that was probably why she would get so upset when she asked me to do some small thing for her and then I forgot. Me forgetting to do that small and seemingly unimportant thing probably made her feel unimportant and unloved. Figuring that out has really helped me understand her. That every time was essentially a quickie. Almost a whole decade of nothing, but 5 thrusts and then blast off. After that relationship ended, I felt like Jasmine on a magic carpet ride. A whole new world. Peter, we just had X. Tell Bonnie. Yes, we had what Joe considers X. Same. At first I thought his personality made up for it, but I was wrong about that too, lol. This entire thread is making me sad. Lol for these guys you're all talking about. Coming quickly is fine. 5 thrusts and blast off is only a problem if he considers the encounter finished after the blast off. I was amazed when I ended up with a dude who, if he happened to come before I did, stuck around to make sure I got off too. And like not, ugh, this is a thing I guess I have to do, but hey, this is also a fun part of exes getting to watch you come. Best advice for past me and any inexperienced girls reading this. Don't ever settle for a partner who is selfish in bed. Also, don't be selfish in bed. It wasn't super long term, only about a year, but when you're in high school that's fairly long term. My ex was a very clingy dude, sweet, but would follow me around every social gathering and get jealous of me spending time with my friends. When I started dating the guy who is now my husband, I remember looking around at a party early on of mostly my friends that he hadn't met before and I couldn't find him. I asked someone where he was and he was out by the fire with a group of people chatting and hanging out. I was astonished that we could just go our separate ways in a social setting and that was totally fine. We didn't have to be attached at the hip the whole time. As a clingy guy trying to not be, what would you say is the appropriate amount of time to be with your partner v friends at a party? Don't think of it as appropriate amount of time. If you are hanging out and chatting along with your girl, that's cool. But if you are just standing there while she is talking, that is being clingy. Also depends on the setting. If you're at a party where you know everyone and she doesn't know very many people, it may not be appropriate to leave her alone at all. It doesn't hurt anyone to talk about it first. If both know everyone at the party, split up and trust each other. This was something my fiancée didn't understand when I first started going to functions with her family. I knew no one in the room and she would often get caught up talking with people across the room without introducing me to anyone and would wonder why I didn't have the best time. It's a lot better now that I've spent a few years around them, but it was pretty irritating for a minute. It's still kind of tough since I'm a manager at a fast food restaurant, and a lot of the men in her family are contractors, construction workers, or involved in that business somehow, so a lot of conversations end up on that side of things. But I at least see them often enough that I can have small talk with them that makes sense. I tried to change her. That was my emotional insecurity. My bad, Melissa. You're not my ex, but my name is Melissa. I still have to regularly deal with my ex who maintains that our loan was the cause for the demise of our relationship. Seeing this was weirdly cathartic. I'm a Melissa too, and I understand this, and have lived this. A lot of girls like to frick. I left a girlfriend of 3 years, a girl I thought I was going to marry, over this. She just had an almost 0x drive, even from the beginning. She thought 3-4 times a year was plenty. In the end, I decided life was too short to have X once every 4 months and dealt with over a year of heartbreak, instead of a lifetime of craving X I wouldn't get. Before I left, I remember trying to soothe myself with, hey, once you are like 70, it won't even matter. My ex-husband always turned me down when I wanted X. We only had X when he wanted, once or twice a year. Adding to this, a lot of guys like to frick and enjoy giving oral. Climax is just about as much as receiving. Giving oral is my favorite thing to do. It feels like communicating. Excellently. It's almost a power trip for me. Making a woman that happy is a huge turn on for me. Your partner should actually make an effort to spend time with you. You shouldn't have to surprise them to spend any time with them. This makes me sad. Yeah, it sucked. I enjoyed the time I did manage to spend with her so much though, that I couldn't end things. I don't blame her though. She was struggling with depression and it was difficult for her to find the energy to do anything. That makes me even sadder. Well, get this guy as your boyfriend, cause at least he got experience. Just a SFW remark. Her father hating me. I just thought this was normal, but in the subsequent 3 relationships, last one turning into a marriage and family, the parents were kind and I couldn't believe that is possible. Sorry, I don't have any not safe for work things. All the girls were very open to experiments. Same thing for me, man. Granted, it was a high school relationship and I figured he just hates me cause I'm a high school boy and he knows what high school boys want. But no, the level of malice he poured out on me was far beyond typical father protecting his daughter levels. She eventually dumped me after he threatened to kick her out of her family. In a happy relationship now with an awesome girl whose whole family is a ton of fun, so it worked out for the best. That ex should last more than 45 seconds. Phew. For a second I thought you were going to say it was supposed to last over a minute. I would lick the side of my first girlfriend's face like a dog and she loved it. My second girlfriend slapped me when I tried it. For me, you won the competition here. This taste is the taste of a GF. Giorno Giovanna. He had a birth defect which left him with 2 holes in the tip of his peanuts. I thought one was for pee and the other was for sperm. My next boyfriend was very confused when I asked him why he only had 1 hole. Hypospadias, I'm guessing. I never knew it was a thing until my son was born with it. He had corrective surgery when he was a couple of years old and has had 0 issues. Good for you on fixing it. I'm 30 years old and still have issues from it because my parents wanted to buy stereo systems instead of getting mine corrected. You're trying to go from stereo to mono. Of course they didn't allow that. Oh, this is actually funny. A lot of these responses are extremely dark.